Black hole, 400 miles spaceship. Time is moving faster at this end of the ship and the other.
How much longer, Doctor?
To survive, they are what we must all become.
Please tell me you didn't.
I have been so looking forward to meeting you. I waited for you.
Gosh, I wonder whether that was one of the longest introductions to a Doctor Who story we've ever had. This was World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls. We saw at the end of that clip that he literally had fallen, hadn't he? A lot going on in that clip for me to recall. Obviously, the start of the second episode. I loved the concept of this story in many ways. As always, with a Moffat script, there's a lot to get your head round. So that particular world we had there, almost an idealistic world, is actually set on a spaceship where the Doctor explained at the start of the clip that time is running at different speeds, I think, depending on what end of the ship you're on. I think I have to say probably one of the highlights of this story was the performance from Pearl Mackie, who I think captured Bill's essence and character and emotion in this so extraordinarily well. I remember being particularly moved by it at the time and thinking it was a cracking series finale. But I think each of the Capaldi seasons have always had strong finishing episodes, haven't they? Really, really good stories to conclude. We saw there that I think Bill had been turned into a Cyberman. Can't quite recall why that was. I think maybe she was possibly killed by something at the start of the story, and then the Master, or Missy, was converting people into Cybermen, possibly. But of course we saw there the return of John Sims, who hadn't been seen, I think, since the David Tennant era. I always found his Master slightly... it was sometimes a little bit too much to take, especially towards the end where you sort of had him turning into a skeleton and jumping around all over the place in David Tennant's Swan Song. But I liked his performance here. It was much more toned down and much darker and much more villainous, I think, which I think played well against Missy. And the two of them worked extraordinarily well together. Yes, and I believe the Doctor had been killed in that final scene we saw where he was carried by Bill. I believe shot by a Cyberman. I'm not sure whether it was Bill herself, but I think it's her will which is stopping her from being totally converted into a Cyberman. Yeah, a cracking story, this one. A lot to take in, and very moving and upsetting in some ways. Yeah. World enough and time, and the Doctor falls. He wasn't the only one to fall.